Kathleen and welcome to my December TBR. As you can see, I'm fairly festive. My Christmas jumper is currently drying from being in the wash, otherwise I would be wearing it. My room is like lit up by fairy lights and it is Christmassy. It's just, this is a blank wall. What can I say? I mean, I have my Christmassy scarf. So first I'm going to wrap up what I read last month and whether I completed the challenges. So for my 5 challenges, I finished 3 out of the 5. I finished The Book Thief, A Discovery of Witches and Always and Forever Lara Jean. I don't see myself finishing Marnie or 6 Stories in the last 2 days of November, but I did end up finishing 2 extra books, which are Demelza and Obsidio, and I'm about 10 pages away from finishing Bookshop Girl because it's so short. There would be 6 books, which is quite good, just not necessarily the right 6. So now let's move on to this month's roles. So for role 1, it was most recent purchase, and this was between 3 books that I bought at the same time. The Girl in Red, The Last Seance and Frostheart. And because of my little Christmas readathon I'm doing, I went with Frostheart because I could use that as a challenge. This is the Waterstones edition. I talked about it a bit in my haul video, and yeah, I'm just very excited to read this. For the second role, it landed on all-timer, and for that I picked Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I've been meaning to read this for a very long time. And every time the next book in the series comes out, like with Dark Dawn and God's Grave, I was like, yes, I just need to read Nevernight. And I never have, and I've finally taken it out from the library, and I'm going to be reading it for the Winter Quest for the Bookie Trials. So for 3 it was adaptation, and for that I went with another Christmas book that I will be reading, and that's Father Christmas. It's a children's graphic novel by Raymond Briggs, and I love the film. I watch it most years, so I thought this would be a nice one that would fit my readathon as well as this challenge. So for historical, I picked Jeremy Poldark by Winston Graham. This was in fact an extra that I was planning on reading in November, didn't get around to reading it, so I will hopefully be reading it in December at some point so I can continue on with the Poldark series. And finally, for thriller, I chose One of Us is Lying. I nearly picked this for the all-timer because I keep putting this in my TBR and never getting around to it. But I finally really want to read it this month, especially now it's a challenge. I've been meaning to read this for such a long time. I bought it when it first came out because I thought the cover looked great, and I've had Two Can Keep a Secret as well, but I'm refusing to read that until I've read this. So I thought, why not? Let's do it! I really want to read that. So the extras, these lights are literally tickling me. So the next chunk of this book is the extras that I want to read. But for this month I've only got 4, and they're all children's books, which I will hopefully be reading for my 24-hour Christmas readathon. Actually I've got 5, but one is on its way into my library. I've reserved it, but I haven't got it yet. That first one is The Snowman by Raymond Briggs, which is another amazing film that I watch with my family every Christmas Eve at 4 PM, that's like a little family tradition. The next one is Noel Streathfield's Christmas Stories, which is a Christmas collection of, I think, ballet related stories. I think there's about 6 in here. No, there's 9. There's 9 stories in here. and it's a really pretty cover, and I thought why not add that to my Christmas TBR. Next I have A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Never actually read this before. I've seen all sorts of films, multiple different adaptations, and I thought I might actually read this over Christmas. Plus my boyfriend's just been working on the musical show, and so I thought I might as well finally read it. Plus it's quite short actually, I didn't realise it was so thin. Next we have another Christmas anthology, Christmas story collection, and that is just called Christmas Stories, and it's the Scholastic Classics edition, and it's such a pretty book. Like, look at that, it's so pretty. I'm not sure how many stories are in this one, let me check. 11 stories in here, and it's a bit thicker, but I'm sure I can still get through it on that day. These are more classic stories compared to the other one which Noel Streatfeild, I believe, has written. So yes, there's all sorts of ones from Arthur Conan Doyle is in here, Charles Dickens, E. Nesbit, Hans Christian Andersen, like kind of fairy tale Christmas stories. And finally I have The Christmasaurus by Tom Fletcher. I picked this up because not only am I a big McFly fan, but I've heard so much about this and how great it is, and especially how it's been turned into a show, I believe, like a theatre production. So I ran out of storage and had a few issues with sorting that out. But in the meantime, I did finish this, so this is now completed. As I was saying about the Christmasaurus, I've heard so much amazing feedback about it, and I just thought I had to pick it up. And when I walked into the library and saw it, I just thought, that's coming home with me. So that's pretty much everything I have to say to you. I look forward to seeing you next week for another video. Bye!